This is Socket Shelf. It's a As Seen on TV 8-port surge protector. It has 6 outlets, 2 USB connectors, and a shelf. Not to be outdone, Amazon has their own kind of version with 6 outlets, 2 USB ports, and a small shelf. For the low-end version, this one has no outlets, but it has a shelf. Today I'm comparing all 3 of these socket shelves to see which one is the best deal. I'm James White, and this is Freakin' Reviews. I actually have 2 socket shelves. I purchased both of them for about 30 bucks. The reason being is because I saw 2 completely different packages and I wanted to make sure that there wasn't 2 versions floating around out there. They are the same version, so we're gonna take one of these and put it off to the side. Here's where I unboxed both of these to make sure they weren't different. Let's get these out of the way first, deal with them later. But this is what I'm talking about right now. This is Socket Shelf. It's been advertised on television actually for a while now. They test marketed it a year or 2 ago and just brought it back. Now they're advertising it. But I've seen 2 different packages here. They have the same barcode, so I'm pretty sure it's the same item. But sometimes these As Seen on TV products tend to change over time. And since the packaging is so different, I bought this at an As Seen on TV store, this at Bed Bath & Beyond. I figured I would just get both of them at 30 bucks a piece and see how they work and make sure there's no difference between the 2 of them. And then also compare them to a couple of competitors on Amazon. Let me crack all these open and get started. Socket shelf number 1. By the way, this one says it's from Sharper Image. The commercial says Sharper Image, but I don't see Sharper Image on this one anywhere. Don't know if that's significant or not. It's possible they're the exact same and they're just testing different packages. It's possible that different retailers get different packaging. I don't know. This box looks a lot less As Seen on TV-ish than this one does, though. Now the instructions look As Seen on TV. All right, here's the glorious shelf. All right, there's the back of it. 2 plugs on this side, 2 in the front, 2 in the side, and you got 2 USB ports. Pretty basic. Socket shelf number 2. All right, this looks very familiar. All right, here's the shelf. The instructions appear to be identical. Okay, so I'm thinking it might just be difference in packaging. All right, socket shelf number 2. I think they're the same thing. Same thing, right? 2 of the same thing. I'll look a little more closely, but it looks like they're the same thing. I just wanted to make sure that the packaging wasn't showing maybe a different version, an updated one, because like things like the clapper, even the bell and howell disc lights have changed over time, even though the packaging may or may not have. So just want to make sure, and I can always use an extra one of these, assuming they actually work. All right, let's get to this Amazon one here. All right, let's see what we got here. This is a little different design, a little different. We've got 3 on each side. We still have 6 and 2, so the same number of ports, 6 outlets and 2 USB, just designed a little bit differently. And this one has a shelf, I believe. Where is the shelf? I think this is the shelf. I think that's the shelf, but I don't know how to open that up yet. Where there are no real instructions with this. There's some product specs in here, but there aren't any instructions. So I guess I have to just kind of wing this one. All right, I'll get to that one later. And finally, this one, which is this one doesn't have outlets. This is just the shelf itself. All right, nice big shelf at least. Oh, and these are actually heavy, and they give you 2 different kinds. It's well packaged. All right, so it looks like one of these goes in here, and your shelf goes up there. So I'll have to put this together in a little bit here. I'm gonna read all these instructions over, and then I guess I'll get started. For those of you concerned about safety, the Amazon one has an ETL listing, and the socket shelf has a UL listing. Now, of the 2 that have outlets in them, they're both 15 amps, and the USB section, this is 2.4 amps, and this is 2.1, so pretty similar. Let me put the shelf on this particular unit. I think it's a good size shelf. Compared to the socket shelf, it's certainly deeper. Not as wide though. The way you're gonna attach the shelf here is, it's not quite as easy as it should be. I'll get it. I did it once, I can do it again. It should be easier than this. Oh, there I got it. And there we go. Boom. I think this one, the shelf, I was looking at the picture, I think the shelf slides out like that. Well, that's not much of a shelf. Is that even really a shelf? I'm not sure if that would be considered a shelf or not. It does have a little ridge up here so you could put your phone on top and it doesn't slide off. So I guess it's kind of shelf-like. But anyways, here's our 3 competitors. I think it's time to get started. All of my bathrooms have a socket right underneath the medicine cabinet. Even if I could get it to fit this way, which it doesn't, you're gonna have a shelf right underneath there. That's not gonna work. So I have to find somewhere else. But in my case, I can't even use this in any of my bathrooms, which is kind of the main place they showed it being used. Disappointing. Let me see if either one of these fit in here now. All right, well, the Amazon one actually can fit there. Although it's kind of strange, because if you wanted to charge your device here, the plug's kind of in the way. And you can't put it up there, because the medicine cabinet's in the way, so it's kind of strange. I guess you could put it like that. That's not that great. But it fits here better than the socket shelf, which doesn't fit here at all. With this one, it would certainly fit, but you're gonna have the shelf there. So I would say in the case of the bathroom, when you have a medicine cabinet here, this is probably gonna be your best choice because the shelf is a little bit lower. I'm not sure it's gonna work in my bathroom. If you have a bathroom with an outlet not underneath the medicine cabinet, it might work for you. But let me try the kitchen now and see if I have any better luck in there. Well, once again, all of my sockets in my kitchen are underneath something. But let me try anyways, as seen on TV. All right, well, I mean, it definitely gives me more outlets over here. I'm not sure about this. You know what this reminds me a little bit of? You might remember the side socket, which is, it's also 6 outlets. No USB. This is from like 2012, I think. But this one swivels, so you can kind of plug it in there and you can keep it flat. You got the same thing here, but you got 2 on each side. See the font on the side socket? That's pretty similar. Something tells me these are related, but I digress. What I want to know is if I put weight on one side, if it's going to be a problem here. Not that you would store a can of soup up here. I guess it's kind of sturdy. The shelf's pretty deep, so if you have a phone up here, I mean, you're gonna have to put it way back there in the back. So I'm charging my phone. That's cool. It's on the shelf up here. If I wanted to view it, that might be a little more problematic. I might have to put it in the back. 4 extra outlets and 2 USB is always going to be a good thing. Can't have enough power here, right? But as far as storing spices and things, you know, it's like that's not going to work. I'm not even sure is that convenient? You guys tell me if you think that's convenient or not. Having a spice way back there, I don't know. I just can reach in here and grab one. Anyways, let's try another one. Once again, I'm not thrilled about this being in front of your shelf because look, I mean, you can't really put it at a good angle. You can put it up here. It actually seems to hold the phone better on top, minus the shelf, and actually better than the socket shelf because it's not so deep. If you're not using the USB, then the shelf works pretty well, I guess. The socket shelf seems like it's moving around back and forth when I put weight on it. This one less because it has more support. One more. All right, there we go. Well, obviously you're not getting any more outlets or USB ports, but how about the shelf itself? I mean, it holds the phone. The phone doesn't really prop up because it's not wide enough. I guess I could do that. I'm not sure about that. I just don't think this is a good area for one of these items because this is limiting you the whole time. It's also so narrow. What are you gonna get, 2 spices on there? I mean, it's pretty narrow too. It's very deep. I don't think you need all that depth. I don't think you need all the depth. The one thing I do like though is they have this little opening so you can run a cord through there. But that's about the only advantage over the others I've seen so far in this. Otherwise, I'm not so impressed. Let me go to somewhere where I've actually had a need for something like this, which is my bedroom. All right, this is my current setup in my bedroom. I actually bought this when I went to Australia last year, and it doesn't add any more outlets, but I added 2 USB ports, so I figured I would just use this, get some use out of it here back in America. And I actually kind of use this as a shelf, even though it doesn't have one. It's not really a shelf, but I rest it on there. And this does have a built-in cable that can charge most Android devices. Right now I've got my bed jet plugged in here, my laptop plugged in here. I charge one of my iPhones here, and I'm charging my battery pack. This is a standard setup. This is my room every day. So let me see what I can do. Starting off with the socket shelf. And this time I'm going to actually remove the faceplate for all of them to try to secure them a little bit better. Even with the screw in place, it's still, you know. All right, so I'm going to put my laptop on the side here. You can see it moving as I'm sticking it in there. I'll put the bed jet in the front. But not only do I have better space optimized, but I still have 4 more outlets. So I'm pretty happy with that. I think the instability it's not so bad that it's going to be a problem unless you put something really heavy on there. But I kind of like it. Let me try an iPad and see how that works in there. One thing about the iPad is the cord is on the bottom. A lot of devices are like that, so you're going to have to put it upside down, which most devices can automatically flip, so it shouldn't be too much of a problem. All right, let's see how this bad boy works. I do like the fact that the shelf kind of can be hidden, although it's such a small shelf. See, this one also moves a little bit too, and it's screwed in there. All right, my battery pack doesn't even fit. It doesn't fit. It's too thick. So I'll put it up here, I guess. That does hold it nicely though, that's good. Try the iPhone. Oh, look at this. I mean, look at that. What a terrible place to put them. I just don't get it. They could have put them higher, they could have put them somewhere else, but right there, right where your phone is gonna be. If you don't wanna look at your phone, I guess it can squeeze in there. I don't know, I'm not too convinced. And it definitely didn't hold this one. This was just too thick completely. Look at that. Nope. Now let's see where this iPad's gonna fit. I mean, I guess it fits in there. I don't think I would trust it to stay there. The problem is now if I want to, this won't fit here. Guess I can just put it on the floor. The iPad does fit nicely right there though. It does fit nicely, and I could probably fit my phone here. Kind of. I think it's all right. Oh, I haven't even plugged anything in yet. Laptop is plugged in. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 more over here. It just seems a little bit more cluttered and more cramped than the socket shelf. Now I'm certainly more into the price on this one, which was $12 versus $30. I'm starting to lean towards this one being a little bit better. We have one more to check though. All right, and for our economy model here, you don't get any extra outlets, but you get this nice deep shelf. In my case, I actually lose something because I was using this before, which gave me, it didn't give me extra outlets, but gave me 2 extra USB ports. Now I have nothing. So what if I could just plug that back in there? Maybe I should just do that if I wanted a shelf. Because really, I can't go without USB ports here. I can't. I just can't do it. I won't. I'm just gonna stick this back in there. I don't care. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna plug in my laptop, plug in my bed jet. And the nice thing about this shelf, but you can feed your electronics up through there, which is kind of nice. Now that's what I'm talking about. You could obviously just put a cube down here too. I mean, if you guys call this cheating, I could just do this. All right, now I'm not cheating anymore. But then I have to decide between my laptop and my bed jet. But anyways, I do like the fact that when you feed that through there, it kind of holds it up in place. That's kind of nice. Same thing with the iPad. It does hold it up nicely. I think that just as a shelf, it's actually pretty good. And the price point is pretty good as well. So I think it's only $8. So let me see how much this shelf actually holds. I can't use it in the bathroom because my medicine cabinet's in the way. So let me just try some bathroom items right here. I'll put the bigger stuff toward the back. Some shaving gel, maybe some hand soap, miscellaneous item number 1, some beard oil, maybe some Q-tips. Can I fit it on there? One more thing. Oh, I fit everything on there. The only problem is you kind of have to dig toward the back because it's deep. Let's see if the socket shelf with this more wide shelf is more efficient. Try the same items. Not as much depth, but let's see. Shaving gel, miscellaneous, Q-tips, beard oil, more. I actually think I have more space. I think this socket shelf with this wide design actually might be a little bit better. I'm a little bit surprised. I thought with this big deep shelf that it would hold more, but I think there's just more room on the socket shelf. Well, I think I have all the information I need to wrap this thing up. All right, it's time for some pros and cons and ranking these 3. Number 3 at the bottom is the cheapo shelf that doesn't really have any extra sockets to it. The pros would be that it has a shelf and it has this cutout for the electronics, but you don't really get any extra outlets for it. So it's just a shelf. And you have to take your original faceplate off, so there's some minor assembly required. Number 2 is the KMC from Amazon. It's pretty good because it seems stable when it goes into the outlet. It does have 6 outlets and 2 USB ports, but the shelf space is pretty limited. I mean, you can barely fit a phone in there. You might be able to lean something up here, but if you've got something charging the USB ports, it kind of is in the way of the phone. So for $12, it's actually a pretty good deal. I just wish these USB ports were somewhere else. and I wish the shelf was a little bit bigger. Not bad, there's a few design flaws. And that leaves me with number 1. Surprisingly, As Seen on TV socket shelf comes out on top. This one has, I think, the best shelf of them all. It seems to have the most shelf space, and the USB ports are in a convenient location. Now, it's not perfect. It's 30 bucks. That's pretty steep for something like this. I was thinking 20 would be a little bit more like it. But on the other hand, if you're not worried about that as much, I think it does a pretty good job. The only problem with any of these is that if you're adding a shelf to an outlet, a lot of times outlets are underneath things like counter spaces and medicine cabinets, so you may not be able to use them in those places. I'm going to stick with my socket shelf. Now I have an extra one I'm not sure what I'm going to do with, but maybe I'll give that one away. Check out the comments and see what I'm going to do about that. But have you used this socket shelf or one of these other items? Tell me what you think in the comments below. Please follow my social profiles for progress pictures, videos as I go. And please subscribe for more product reviews from me, James White, with Freakin' Reviews.